the contribution of Mr. Joshua Nkomo to the independence of Zimbabwe has been watered down deliberately to the extent that people do not understand that had things not been manipulated, the person who actually deserved to be our president was not Mr. Mugabe or the ZANU-PF candidate. It was supposed to be Joshua Nkomo. Tribalism played a bigger part to deprive someone who had worked harder to liberate our people from the hands of the colonial rule. And from the time the Unity Accord was signed until he died, people heard more about Robert Mugabe than they heard about Joshua Nkomo. And when you look at their credentials, you won't tell unless you are not naive now. You won't tell that in terms of political credentials, Mr. Mugabe was a junior to Joshua Nkomo by all standards. The only thing he was good at is manipulating the people, and also he was a chess player, a good chess player politically. He was very, very manipulative, and he played this game cunningly to become prominent. And because people died, Mr. Nkomo surrendered. He said, I will take the vice presidency for the sake of the people. And the story was shut down. If you read the history books today, even those who went to school, I went to school in Zimbabwe, you hear very little about Joshua Nkomo, and you hear a lot about Mr. Mugabe. You hear very little about the Zipra forces. You hear a lot about the Zanda forces. But if you are not wise, you will not understand that the first military to actually attack and to decide to go to war against the white minority oppressive regime were not the Shonas, who comprised much of the Zanda people and the ZANU party. It was the Ndebeles. They fought the white men in the Ndebele war alone without the Shonas.
Yes, quite interesting.
So the history we know now is manipulated by the Shonas to suppress the role that was played by the Ndebeles. So Mr. Mugabe lifts his fist and says, Pamberne ZANU-PF, we fought for this country. But that's not exactly the correct narrative. It was a joint operation. If you don't know, you should know. You should know. So this history was very influential in deciding and giving those guys who wanted to take power prominence. The electoral process was manipulated. We know this. I can stand in court and answer to these charges. I have very, very authentic sources that Mr. Nkomo was not allowed to campaign in most of the Mashonaland provinces during those election campaigns. And by so doing, many Zipra supporters were not able to express their will. Some of them were abducted, they died. Some of them were beaten, just like what is happening now. Just like what is happening now. So history is repeating itself. Manipulation, selling out, receiving money behind closed doors, and becoming a sham opposition. One who goes on the front and says, we don't want this. And at night he sneaks through the door. He goes to the very opponent of his and he says, don't worry, you will not lose any election. I'm just there to show them a picture that you have got some contenders. But I have no interest of taking over. What do you give me for giving you no competition? So he goes back home with an envelope of money. So whenever things that are important are happening, you don't see him. He always comes to the people conveniently when people are looking for someone who is serious to actually bring a solution that can save lives. It's not about giving people a cozy life, a comfortable life. It's about saving life. Survival is what people need. I desire with my heart that everyone might find a good life. I desire that there be stability in Zimbabwe. I desire that someone can go to work and earn his salary and be able to put his money in a bank and come back after 12 months to receive his money without hearing stories, receiving his money in the right currency that he left it in, without that money having lost all its value because of policies. I desire that someone may go to work and come back home safe and healthy. I desire that people go to school and earn qualifications and find jobs. These are desires that every Zimbabwean has. But the problem is we have a bigger problem than these problems. Our problem is now we do not have the right people to prosecute these problems. The people we are putting hopes on are the ones who are being advised by the Ahithophels that I'm prophesying about.